My name is Adam. I'm the customer success manager here at Vyzer. We are wanting to do kind of a monthly walkthrough. Some of you have maybe seen some in the past, and you just might want a refresher. Some of you might be new and just kind of want to get a feeling for what Vyzer and what the platform looks like and some more details. So that's what we're going to put out there for you. Joining me is Danielle, our director of marketing. She's going to be my co-host, helping with kind of any questions that might pop up and help me with just kind of the flow of the webinar. So thank you for everyone for
Hi,
joining.
everyone.
So we can go ahead and get started. The question is kind of always why Vyzer? So Vyzer is designed to be an automated solution specifically for the unique challenges that come when you're in private investments. From private equity or real estate funds or syndication, we want to bring simplicity out of the complexity. We are here to create a seamless overview of your portfolio and how it's performing with minimal input on your end to really make passive investing passive again. So this is what the dashboard will look like when you're first entering. If your portfolio was fully designated in all the different asset classes, of course, you'd see your total net worth, the assets, your liabilities, your current cash position based on your synced cash accounts, and the inflow for that specific year. We have 9 different asset classes and 2 liability classes. And each asset class and liability class, of course, has their own subcategories. So when you start using the different filtering options, you can really pare down to see the important data that is most influential to you. So how does this information get into Vyzer? We have a few different ways we want to get your data into the portfolio, into your portfolio, into the platform with very minimal needs from you. And the first way we want to do that is, of course, through what we call Sync and Investor Portal, or specifically VIP syncing service. With this, you are allowing us, when you want to approve it, you're giving us read-only access to all these different investor portals. We will get credentials on your behalf with your permission to be able to get read-only access to your account and be able to pull in any historical statements that you have, any historical contracts that you have, notifications, and be able to build your assets in Vyzer for you. So it really limits how much you need to be involved in the whole process. And then also on an ongoing basis, we'll go back into those platforms and pull in new statements, new notifications, anything like that to be able to keep your assets up to date as much as possible with really no need from you to really jump in and be part of the process if you don't want to. We're working with over 80 different operators. So if you don't see specifically one on this initial list, please search it. And if you still aren't finding a specific operator on the list that you primarily work with, reach out to us. We can usually reach out to these different operators, these different funds, and be able to build those connections in Vyzer for you. The next way is just syncing bank and brokerage accounts. This is a direct connection. We're currently using Plaid, SaltEdge, and our newest integrator, Akoya, to be able to sync to, it's a little over 20,000 different financial institutions, brokerage accounts, to be able to pull in that up-to-date data for you on an ongoing basis. You'll get live information to where you're never really having to refresh or to sign into those different portals like Fidelity or your Chase or Robinhood accounts. You get access and viewing of them all in one place. And our next one, kind of the crux and where we really began with Vyzer, is the Vyzer Magic Box. You can take your historical contracts, your statements, notifications, spreadsheets, Excel or Google, and you can drop those right into the Magic Box. You can upload those files, and our system will scrape the data out looking for keywords, key phrases to be able to build your assets for you and then really update them on an ongoing basis for you. If you don't want to upload that data, let's say that you get that statement or that contract via email, you can just forward that directly to secure-import@vyzer.co, and we'll be able to, it's like emailing it to your Magic Box, and we'll be able to update those assets or add new assets on your behalf for you without you having to download the statement, upload it to Vyzer, just a little bit more simple for you. And our last option, if people just really want to get into the platform, try new things, really see how it works, of course, you can do these all manually. You can see, kind of close that real quick. You can see the different asset classes, pick certain ones that are relevant to your assets, build them yourself, and kind of see how the heart of Vyzer works. So when you get all those assets built and created the platform, of course, they're going to be, gotta move this around real quick. You'll see the dashboard overview, and you'll start seeing your total net worth grow and your asset classes start being filled out. One of our kind of newer features is, of course, inflow outflow. This gives you just a quick bird's eye view of the different asset classes and really your money is being allocated in or out. This helps you get real quick information on if you're having to really feed more cash into certain investment classes, or if you're getting a lot more outflow from them. It gives you just quick access to that information to make good decisions, seeing how your cash is allocated, a little bit more decision making. Of course, you can break it down from years, quarters, or months, and then you can, of course, jump into those asset classes to see specifically how certain assets are performing and if what the inflow and outflow is for both. So we can jump into one real quick and see what that looks like. So I'm just going to go into real estate syndication, more of our common asset that's tracked in Vyzer. So when we build this asset, either through the Magic Box or through VIP Sync, or if you even do it manually, we want to really start with your initial investment into that specific asset. We want to see it from its inception. We're going to also build a distribution schedule on what you should be getting for this specific asset. It could be a distribution quarterly, monthly, annually, and there's also customizable options if you need a more focused distribution schedule. You can see really what you should be getting out of this asset, and then we also want to see what you're actually getting from this asset. So we can really target the performance of this is what you were promised, and this is what you're actually receiving. So when you sync your different cash accounts where you're actually receiving those distributions, we want to connect directly from that asset to those specific events inside those cash accounts so that the system is going to be able to track that information for you. You'll no longer need to really access your statements and see how much your distribution was, or go into your bank account and see, did I get a distribution from this specific operator today? The system is going to identify that for you, pull that information in, and it's automatically going to start calculating those performances for you. And at the same time, since it's automatically looking for those transactions in your account, it's also going to let you know if there's anything that's overdue. So if you have an asset that you've gotten a distribution from in January, February, March, and you haven't gotten in April, you're going to be notified of an overdue event, which is really important if you're in 5, 10 deals that you're going to have to track individually on your own. You have to go in those different portals, look for your statements, go through your bank statements to pinpoint those assets. The system will do that for you.
Adam, we are starting to get some questions in. Do you want us to keep the questions to the end, or do you want us to answer those as we go along?
If you think they're prevalent to what we're speaking about right now,
I think so. Someone is asking, is the promise from the performer within the PPM or investor deck, do you set it up for the users? So yes, expected is what is promised or what can be expected from this specific investment. And the minute that we have that information, we set up the whole expectation and distribution schedule. I hope that answered the question. Please let us know if it didn't. Do you think I covered most of it, Adam?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
And if they have another question that says, I need a little bit more clarification, happy to answer it. Or at the end, if anyone wants to schedule a personal one-on-one demo, happy to do so. We can go over any specific questions that anyone might have.
Perfect. All right, so let's continue. Sorry to kind of jump in.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. So when you're in your specific asset classes and you want to get a really detailed overview of how each asset is performing against each other, you can see all of your assets that would be in that specific asset class of your choosing. And you can pick this little kind of this scale bar over here, and you can pick specific performance metrics or holding entities, really anything that is most important to you that you want to view in one place, you can do so here. So just in this, I'll pick cash on cash, let's do annualized return of investment, IRR, and apply. And that way I can see and really compare my different assets and how they're performing against each other. You can see, well, I want to see who has the best IRR. You can select that, and then of course that the top one will jump to the top. Or best cash on cash annualized. Select it and it'll jump to the top. That gives you just really quick access to performance metrics without having to build these assets in Excel spreadsheet, make the calculations yourself, build these out, and then update them on your own. It's already there for you. Those performance metrics are there live. We want to take care of that for you. Get rid of these. And these different kind of data layers are really integrated in all the different asset classes. So it's not just associated with just real estate. Of course, there's performance metrics that are only pertain to certain asset classes, but you can jump into all the different classes and see what customization abilities that you have there. So it's not just real estate syndications. I'll go into public markets and kind of give you an idea of what a live public market, a brokerage account looks like. It gives you the current balance. It's constantly updating to make sure that it's accurate according to your actual portfolio. You can see your different holdings and the positions that you have in that brokerage account and see how they're performing. And that's live. It's constantly updating. It updates every couple minutes to really give you the most accurate portrayal of your portfolio for you. And then another one, which I know is super important to our high net worth individuals, our high net worth customers, of course, is in long-term savings and it's whole life insurance policies. We had a webinar not too long ago with Wealth Without Wall Street explaining kind of using whole life insurance policies as a way to do infinite banking possibilities to get into new deals and use it at your advantage. So if anyone's participating in life insurance policies to use for assets, to get a load out of them, we can track those for you. We can also, not just the life insurance policy, of course, but how it's leveraged, what asset you used to, what deal you got into, the specific loan that you used, all that information, its performance as in Vyzer helps you just give another layer of insight to what your portfolio is doing. So, and our next, our big feature that I really like, I really think it's a great idea, is our cash flow planning tool. It is based on the different scenarios and the different assets that you're in, your different liabilities. And you can see what your cash position is going to be based on your investments, based on your liabilities. You just get a quick snapshot of all that information in one place, see what those positions are going to be. And these, of course, when you select a specific month, all of your assets, all your liabilities that are used to get to that specific event, that information. That way you can see, okay, I have a huge jump in my cash position. Where is that information coming from? What could that be? Could be an exit. Your deal is coming to term, so you're going to get a large exit from that. Or if there's a huge dip in any of these different scenarios, it could be that you're planning on getting into a new deal, or a capital call is coming up, or you're about to make a premium to your whole life insurance policy. You can see how your cash flow is going to be affected by your different assets. And at the same time, you can build scenarios. So you can see, okay, in the near future, I want to know if I bought a house, outright cash, how is that going to affect my cash position? Or if you're going to get into a new investment, minimums $50,000, $60,000, how is that going to affect my cash position? So you can build these. They don't have to be just one-time deals. They can be reoccurring. It could be an expense or a distribution that you're receiving. You can build those and really have an understanding of, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? Anything, Danielle, that I should add in there?
No, it's just scenarios has always been one of my favorite features, but so I love when you go over it because I was thinking, how can I plan ahead? But I'm a planner, so I like that.
And all of our investors are planners, and that's why these tools are most important to really get an understanding of their next step. I don't think I've spoken to any investor who's like, well, I've made my investments, I'll get my returns, and I'm done. It's always, okay, this is my plans. What's the next step?
For sure.
So within Vyzer, of course, we want to be able to provide you reports. We're always trying to add new reports, add more value, more information to our customers to give them insights on their portfolio to make decisions. It's always about decision making. And our newest one, and it's really for it's all of our paid subscriptions, is personal financial statement. Or is that just it's elite and premium tier for personal?
No, that's for all tiers on, I believe that in the tier 1 on the free plan that you can just download a sample, but yes, so from Plus onwards.
Perfect. So, and a personal financial statement is really important to give you a snapshot of your financial health. It shows what assets you own, what liabilities you still owe on, and it's crucial for your informed financial decisions for planning for the future, securing new loans and investments. You have that option. Of course, our balance sheet shows you the current value of assets and liabilities in a snapshot. You can choose what entities that you want to see. It doesn't need to be specific to your whole portfolio. If it's important to a personal investments or your business, or if it's a trust and you just want that snapshot, you can turn all the other ones off. Of course, you can group them by asset class, or you can pick a specific reporting date if you need kind of more historical data for that information. And then our general report. A general report is, it downloads as an Excel spreadsheet. It's really just an information dump of everything that you have in Vyzer. It's going to give you all of your investments, all of your liabilities, all of your historical distributions, contributions, performance metrics, holding entities, really anything that you have in Vyzer. It's going to be in one big dump that you can, if you really like Excel and you want to be able to build new reports and get more insight, that's available for you. And for our elite tier members, we do have custom reporting. And that could be for specific allocation of funds into different asset classes, or if there's a demographic that you want to see kind of more insight on. Excuse me. We can build those reports customized to your needs, your wants. If there's anything that our elite members want to see specifically in a report, we work with them to get it as accurate for them and their needs as possible. And of course, the magic box, as we saw earlier, it just shows you what specific documents you have uploaded to the magic box, when you did it, their name, and of course, their status. You can see if a specific document has been rejected due to not enough information, or if we're working on it. You can see that, okay, I've put these documents into Vyzer. Am I missing any? You can go through the list and see what you missed, what you need to add, just another level of detail for you. And then I know this is one of Danielle's favorite features, of course, is our community function. You can see as members the different institutions that our customers are working with. We have to have at least 5 of our members in a specific organization for any kind of privacy reasons, especially when our discussion feature opens up. We want to make this anonymous, especially because we know so many of our members are in different groups that we don't want anyone to stand out. We want to privatize as much as possible. So when you hover over any of these different organizations, you can see what the allocations of funds are in those organizations. To set up, if you want to start getting with a new bank or in Charles Schwab, different institutions, and see how they're really relegating their funds, and to make decisions for yourself and your portfolio, of course. Then you can also hit classes and see specifically, like, okay, for this is a demo account, of course, but right now we're helping track $4.79 billion of assets in Vyzer. You can see that for this specific demo, or for our entire community, 31.5% of all of the net worth is in real estate. So you can pick real estate and you can see how you're stacked up against the community. So if the community is 31.5 and you as the user are only at 9%, you can say, am I allocating my funds in the most efficient way possible? Do I need to make some changes? And then you can also see all the different operators that we have their data into Vyzer. So if there's any specific, like you want to work with a new organization, you don't really know how to research them, you can come to our community function and say, well, I've heard of Rise 48. I've heard of Front Street Capital. That way you just have another level of information that these aren't just fraudulent operators asking for your contribution. You know that different members of our community are working with them and how much our members are working with them. So Danielle, please let me know if I need to add anything.
No, there was just a question if you can see syndicators like Ashcroft or Welling Capital in the community, and you were just going over it, so they were able to see it.
Perfect. We have a lot of them working with a lot right now.
Yeah, and again, same rules apply here. There's got to be 4 different deals in the platform in order to show it, and not as others. Privacy reason, really want to make sure that everything is anonymized and the people aren't able to track back deals or certain things unless, of course, they choose to share that.
Perfect. And if you ever have any questions, if you're on the platform and you're seeing something that you don't completely understand, there's a lot of levels of detail. There's different filtering options. We want to be able to help you at any time. So if you ever have a question while you're in the platform, you need more insight, we have this little circle in the lower right-hand corner that you can select and you can ask one of the members live. Usually we can always get back to you pretty quickly. I've seen that our response time is below 5 minutes now. If you have any questions about the platform, or if you just want to say, hey, I'm here, I have some questions, can we schedule a demo? You can do that as well. You can always reach out to me directly just at adam@vyzer.co, or if you just need a more general question, you can send those to hello@vyzer.co. We'll get right back to you as quick as we can, answer those questions. We want to be there for you. You're never limited to how many times you reach out. I know our different tiers have different limitations, but you're never limited to how many questions you have or how much Zoom meetings that you have with us. We want to be able to help you and guide you as much as we can.
There's also a lot of articles and tutorials and videos on the intercom that you can access if for some reason, you're looking for something. So there's a lot of articles there. You can start typing it. It will show you the tutorial or an explanation how to do it. So there's a lot of good information there.
There's me and Danielle. If you're ever wondering if we're real people, we are real people. So what other questions? I'll kind of open this up to anyone who has another question, give you any insights that we have. Scheduling a meeting in the future, we want to be there for you. We want to help our customers.
Okay, so we have a question. If a distribution is late, say 30 days, should the pre-fill target be canceled and a new transaction within the accurate date input? So it's editing basically what happens if you're editing an expected distribution. So if you are not going to be getting it, you can cancel it. If you're going to be getting it at a later date, you can edit it. Obviously, if you're not getting it, that affects the performance as well if it's in a later date. So everything can be edited, so it will reflect what really happens in your actual performance. Another question, can there be multiple user login for a single account? For example, if we use Vyzer for a family office instead of individual, can we have different user profile, email user login that access the same Vyzer account? Adam, do you want to take this? It is actually in the what's coming up next features. So
yes. So we will have that capability here, hopefully by the end of the quarter. We're going to call that role management. So you as the administrator who first signed up for Vyzer is able to give credentials to anyone of your choosing, whether it be your significant other, your business partner, your CPA. You can give them access to your portfolio to go in and pull reports, get more information. I believe there'll be different levels of accessibility. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, to give you more capabilities as the administrator. So that is part of our new features that are coming out. Other new features are we're gonna be changing the way we do a lot of our exit flows. So exiting from these deals to have more custom options, more detailed options. So if you know that there's a specific exit event, that you can detail that information while that asset is being built. We
Yes.
also
And
have, oh,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was just gonna talk about portfolio allocation or the ability to allocate new classes. Go right ahead.
No, but I think also it's important. So we do have a workaround that can give other people the option to log into the account if you are managing an account for multiple users. You can reach out to us directly and we can help you set it up. It's a workaround until the role management is developed. What features exist to track K1 forms? Adam, do you want to show how you can track K1 forms?
Back to the platform real quick. So if you have I believe I need to go into a specific asset class, but if we have a K1 in the platform that we know of, making sure that when it's uploaded or we pull it from the portal through the IP sync, it is going to be distinguished as a K1. So you can go into the different asset classes and hit K1 tracker, and you can hit specific years to know that, okay, I need to make sure that I have 2024, 2023, any of that information, and you can hit apply. And when you do that, you can see what specific K1s are in the platform in case you need to run out and be like, okay, in Vyzer, we have K1s for 2022 for these assets, and then you can go to that asset and of course download it. But if you need it and you just need to make sure that, okay, I've received my K1 for all these different assets, I'm still missing one for this specific operator, I might need to reach out to them and kind of figure out if that's coming soon or not. What else?
Okay, this is a question about community. Do you show returns on individual sponsor deal? For example, Rice 48 district drill into sponsor deal to see returns by deal fund. We do not show it yet, but it's in our roadmap to add that capability down the line.
Mhm.
Okay, specifically, can Vyzer track projected and actual depreciation received on each K1?
Yeah, we
Adam,
we don't dive a lot of into depreciation yet. I know that's really a good tool to have, especially when we add tax functionality, but we're not tracking depreciation yet at this time. It is, of course, on the roadmap as the different features and capabilities of Vyzer grow and grow. That is something we want to add.
it can probably be added as a sort of a value update or as a note or something in the events to show that something did happen that affected the value, but it's definitely in the works. Okay, late distribution dates. So dates don't appear to be modified. Yes, the platform doesn't track dates, it's tracked by months. So should an additional transaction be created or cancel the target and add a new one? So I would, if it's within, it depends if you have a distribution schedule or not, but assuming that it is a distribution schedule and you haven't received it on time, I would cancel the event. And then when you do receive it, I would add, you can also add a manual event. Adam, do you want to show how it's done, let's say on a real estate or a managed funds?
So while you have the distribution schedule already created, you can go to create event. And there's different options, of course, for a distribution received. You've invested more. I know there's options in the asset info tab for capital call information. You can get all that right there. So if you have another distribution, 2 in a month, or you missed one more custom, you can hit distribution received, fill out information, of course, change the date and create that distribution for that asset.
Yeah, and you can also make the distinction if it's return of capital on capital, so you'll be able to do that as well. I hope that answered the question. Let us know if you need any more clarification. Okay, are returns calculations smart enough to take account early return of capital event? Does it take into account remaining capital still invested? Okay, Earlier, so the platform does take into account the timing of the money that you receive, obviously, because that affects performance. But depending again, if this is the early return of capital because the deal is closing out, which is what we're working on now and should be added to the platform next week. So it will be taking it into consideration. And remaining capital still invested, yes, it definitely takes that. If you still have capital committed that you haven't invested yet, you can put that in, takes it into your calculations. So you see how the effect that it has on the performance. So I don't think we have any more questions. Probably a good time to add some of the things that were added recently, Adam, and what's coming up next.
Perfect. Yeah. Besides just role management, a more advanced, more customizable exit flow. We're going to be also doing more ability to classify and allocate data based on specific criteria. These are more filtering options to allow if certain, I always want to call them buckets, and that's just for me coming from a bank.
It's gonna be a custom attribute that essentially, if you want to reclassify the asset classes, it's gonna allow you to group your assets by, for instance, by holding entities, by risk, by liquidity. If you want to set your own asset classes and not the predefined Vyzer asset classes, so it's really gonna let you display your data in the way that is most convenient to you, and group different assets or liabilities according to however you would want to group them. So essentially,
That's just from banking world, being in banking 10 years. I just always, that's buckets for me, but I know there's different terminology for anyone.
well, great. I don't see any other questions. I guess we explained most of the things that we needed, so that's always good. If you need any more information, feel free to reach out to us either by intercom or email. You have all the information on the website. Follow us on social media. We're always announcing new features, new tutorials. Thank you so much for joining us today, and let's keep those passive investment passive. I stole your line, Adam.
That's all right. You can have it.